If you could have any superpower, what would it be? Every day, I stand at the front entry of my building and greet the students as they come in. I'm usually joined by a couple of staff members, and we engage in small talk. And one day, we were approached by a student that asked us this question: if you could have any superpower, what would it be? And we took some time and we thought about it, talked about the different options: the ability to fly, super speed, time travel, invisibility, or even the ability to make time stand still. Just think how much you could accomplish if you could make time stand still. Or think about how you could support your staff at your building if you were invisible. You could sit in the teacher's lounge, listen in on conversations, and figure out the needs of the students and the staff. Well, the more I reflected on this question, the more I started to realize I already do have superpowers, and so do you as a building leader. The first superpower I realized that I had was the ability to create the climate and the culture of my building. Now, when I do this, I think about the school-dependent students that need a lot of attention academically and social-emotionally, the students that need us the most. And in my building, it's Black and brown students that the educational system has failed historically. And so I set out to establish relationships with my staff. I met with 90% of the staff before we had contact with students. I incorporated community builders into our staff meetings. And before the staff even arrived that fall, I gave them a homework assignment. I asked them to write a poem about themselves and where they come from. I believe that the more I know where someone comes from, the better I can support them when they really need it. And so we took these poems and we used those as our community builders during workshop week. And the more time I got to spend with the staff and really learn about them and learn their strengths, the more I was able to see who was there for the students that needed us the most and who wasn't. Now, the important thing about this superpower is being upfront with your staff and letting them know we're here to serve our students and the community. And this may not be the school or the community for you to serve. Some staff chose to leave, and others were asked not to come back. You see, I was that school-dependent student. I was a student that struggled in school. I was a student that hurt my classmates physically and emotionally. And fortunately for me, I had a couple of teachers that saw my strengths. They believed in me, and they had high expectations for me. And they made sure I lived up to those expectations. See, they cared about me. It was my interactions with these teachers and some experiences later on in my adult life that led me to understand about the most powerful superpower that I have, which is the power of love. And so we just started restorative practices in my building, and we had to write down a value that we wanted for our building. And we use these values to guide our work throughout the school year. And the one that I wrote on my card was unconditional love. And that's what I want my students to feel in my building, because we all make mistakes and we have to live with the consequences of those mistakes. And what's helped me get through it is knowing that I've been loved. And so my students make poor choices, and they come to me and they ask me questions about what's going to happen next. And I usually respond in a similar way every time. They say, "Mr. Stibbins, am I in trouble?" And I say, "Yes, but I still love you." "Mr. Stibbins, are you going to call my mom?" "Yes, but I still love you." "Mr. Stibbins, can I go back to class today?" "No, but I still love you." And they don't like the response, but they understand that I'm there for them and that I care about them. And so, with this superpower that I have, it was important for me to make changes in my building. And every year we have a stakeholder survey. And on that survey, we had 18% of my staff that, sorry, I lost my spot. 18% of staff that felt safe in the work environment. 18%. The following year, I realized I needed to do something. I had a responsibility, and I needed to do something with my superpowers to change the experience for my staff and my students. So the following year, we had 83% of staff feeling safe in a work environment. So you have the power to decide what kind of building you're going to lead. Is it going to be a building of unconditional love, where staff and students are supported, especially the students that need it the most? You have the power. How are you going to use it? Thank you.